coming from my world, Sonic can play such an interesting role because it provides a lot of the emotion to any experience. So visual design while can be very emotive, I think is cerebral since it's coming through our eyes, where sound just bypasses the neocortex and just goes straight to the heart, and we really feel it that way.
The power as designers comes with storytelling. How can we tell each other stories? For sure, as a way to empower one another and lift each other up, and also open up doors that could get us closer to our goal.
Hello, I'm Helene Oberman, Managing Director of Interior Design Magazine, and I'd like to welcome you. It began with wood. For the past 65 years, Andrew World has kept at its very heart the characteristics one would find in this unique, warm, and noble material. Over time, they sought to maintain these qualities in all of their designs, regardless of the material or technology employed. With each piece they create, they continue to respect the tradition of Spanish craftsmanship while producing an aesthetic that reaches a global appeal. For a company with an international reach, it's not only about the value of the furniture they produce, but also the showrooms in which they display them. These spaces convey their passion for design, their love of detail, and the technical mastery that helps define the brand. And for each product and showroom they design, Andrew World does it all with a dedicated commitment to protecting the environment. With me today to discuss these values as it pertains to their new New York showroom and their new product introductions is Jesús Griñan, affectionately known as JG, Vice President of Andrew World America, and Sergio Chismol, Product Design Manager for Andrew World. Bienvenidos. Welcome, you guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So this is a very important year for Andrew World as it marks your 65th anniversary, and congratulations. For each of you, sort of starting out big picture, what do you see as perhaps the biggest evolution of the company during this time period? And JG, do you want to start?
Sure. Well, thank you so much for the introduction, Helene. That's a great summary of our values and trajectory. I have to say that for 65 years, Andrew World has stayed true to our principles of quality and design. So the biggest evolution is probably an expansion of our product portfolio, a reach in the design community where we can showcase our products with these different showrooms that we are introducing in the US. But especially it's the continuing and of the beginning of the true design and the quality of the company, but just increasing our product portfolio with the same quality and the same principles.
Sergio, your take?
I think, from my side, the biggest evolution has been in innovation, technology, and design that are the basic pillars of our industrial culture. Working on the basis of creativity, versatility, ergonomics, and comfort, we develop new products combining traditional methods with the new technological processes in a constant search for excellence.
So we always like to think that New York is the design capital of the world, and perhaps Valencia as well. With that in mind, why was it so important to expand and renovate your current showroom that you have at the New York Design Center?
Well, in New York, we had the opportunity to have a space that is double the size of the showroom that we previously had. And with this extra space, we have been able to showcase entire collections. We have been able to showcase our growing portfolio. As you know, we have grown so much in product categories that we didn't have before. For example, conference tables, more and more lounge seating. And these products, to show them properly, we need the extra space. And in New York, I think is the best place to show with the amount of design community and the quality of the design community that we have to have this extra space to show the product properly.
So you speak about the importance of the visitor experience, and I would love for you to really share, maybe Sergio, you can take this one. What would the visitor expect when they visit the new expanded showroom in New York?
Okay, in this new showroom, our goal was to create an inspiring dialogue between the city, the space, and the product. And the new showroom reflects the image, the character, and the style of our company, and at the same time, transmits the spirit of the city with an architectural space, open and luminous, and playing with the nice combination of materials and textures.
So in addition to the size, which is now an amazing 5,000 square feet, how does this space differ from the functions of the previous showroom?
We started this the design of this showroom from zero. We didn't create this expansion as an expansion per se, but we took the whole space and we decided to design it, evolving with obviously the identity of the company in the market. We are introducing the latest technology in materials. We are actually trying to design the space in a way that the customer, when it goes to the showroom, it has the full experience of what Underworld means. Not only designing beautiful products, but also using natural materials, wood, texturized metal finishes. So everything is pretty much showcased in this beautiful showroom. And I think when the user goes into the space, it pretty much has that global view of what Underworld is in the design community.
So, but in addition to just being a showcase for product and this global view, the showroom also needs to operate as a functioning space, and you want it to for all the designers and architects coming through the space who can touch down using it as sort of a working space to work on their projects or just to find inspiration for their work.
You know, Helene, when a customer goes to the showroom, we want the showroom to be an inspiration for designers. They're going to see real settings. They're going to see large conference tables with conference chairs. They're going to see real settings that they can find in offices, hospitals, restaurants. We want it to be a source for inspiration. And in this space, I think we have beautifully achieved that, obviously, thanks to the work of Sergio and the team to design this beautiful space. But we have the opportunity to have that display where you can showcase many different type of products and many different type of settings, as I said, to serve as an inspiration for future designs.
Well, Sergio, I wanted to ask you, sustainability is a key mission of Underworld, and I'm just curious how that has affected the overall design that you came up with for the showroom.
Yes, at Underworld, we have always paid special attention to sustainability and environmental protection. Talking about sustainability of this space, all the wood used in the showroom is FSC certified, that warranty that the wood comes from reforested and controlled forests. Also, one important thing is the lighting. And in the showroom, we change all the lighting, and now we use the latest LED technology to ensure that the highest quality with the best energy efficiency.
So while you're always striving to obviously help with the well-being of the planet, you're also conscious of the health and wellness of the space's inhabitants. So with that, what safety precautions, obviously given the time period we're in, have been enlisted within the showroom to keep visitors safe?
We opened the showroom about a month ago. We know the situation where we are in, but the showroom represents an opportunity to reconnect. We are setting up appointments where the visitor will have the showroom pretty much by itself. We're just setting appointments one by one. We're giving them the opportunity to come and experience the showroom without having any other customers in place. We're trying to coordinate in a way that the customer feels good even going there, which we are experiencing, to have a few hours of work out of home if they cannot or don't feel like going to the office. So we're having a lot of success because we're setting up brackets where designers can come and just have a nice inspirational space where they can work. We are obviously providing masks, we are providing hand sanitizers, we are actually taking all the precautions. But for us, we want the space to be an inspiration for designers that we're trying to promote, and we are successfully bringing designers to the space.
Well, given that point though, why was it just so important to open during this time? As we know, it's so challenging for all.
You know, we had the space planned before everything started in March, right? We haven't changed our strategy as a company, not only in product design, but in the future developments that we have in the works, and especially not in the showroom openings that we had in place. In this case, having this beautiful, larger space, as you mentioned, over 5,000 square feet, it really gave us the opportunity to, like I said, reconnect with designers. And we thought that it was especially important now to have this space to connect with designers. For example, we have several appointments today, and we're going to have designers coming to the showroom one-on-one, in some cases two. But there's no better time to start reconnecting with the design community than now. And with our space in New York, I think we are achieving that result.
I mean, I know that a lot of designers and people in general are craving that human connection, since obviously we're doing a lot.
Absolutely.
So, but for Sergio, you know, since the founding of the company in 1955, the use of wood really has always been at the heart of who Andrew World is. So given this fact, how has the use of this material been incorporated into the design of the new space?
Yes, wood is at the core of Andrew World. It's the most sustainable material that is in our DNA since our beginning, more than 65 years ago, as you said. And we can say that it's our way to relating to the world. There is no other material as unique, warm, and honest. And in the new space, we use natural wood for the walls, the columns, the shelving, and the platforms, creating a soft and warm atmosphere, and combining with the textured black finish of the metal frames of the shelving and the frames of the windows, enhancing the architectural and urban character of the space.
So as a company, your products span many commercial sectors, from workplace to hospitality and education, and all the way to residential. So do you find, because, you know, JG, you kind of touched on this, do you find that their products are laid out sort of by their use within the showroom to give those sort of inspiration?
Absolutely. We try to design neutral spaces. For example, when you enter in the showroom, you will see a few settings of lounge seating that could perfectly be used in a corporate environment, in a hospitality environment, in the lobby of a hotel, and certainly in healthcare and education. We have large light boxes where showcase also entire collections. We try to show the product neutral, but also inspirational. And we have about 200 different products in the showroom. So it's, but amazingly enough, the space shows all the different settings very well defined and with enough space. So the user has the experience and the customer has the experience of really digging in every collection individually and really thinking about the different uses of these designs. But we have different settings, from individual seating to cafe tables with chairs, conference tables, as I said. We have a large setting of bar stools that you can perfectly use in different environments. Totally, you can find inspiration for many different sectors in our showroom.
I'm just curious, you know, because you had the showroom planned obviously before March, did you actually have to rethink what kind of settings would be necessary, especially for the here and now?
You know, that's a great question, Helene. Andrew World is a company specialized in seating and tables. What we do is basically what we've been doing since the very beginning, the origin of the company over 65 years ago. We're straight to our core, and we have developed our collections in those directions. We think our product is perfectly suitable for the current situation and for the future situation. We don't focus too much about the next 1 to 3 months. We're thinking about what's coming next. What is coming in the few years? How is the design community and the interior environments, how are they changing considering the situation? We don't think the path has really shifted much. We think this is a rapid evolution of already happening change. And Drugo, we think, is in the right path. So answering your question, we haven't really changed or adapted our showroom to the current situation because we think we have the right product portfolio for the current situation, but not only that, for the future years to come.
So one thing that always comes to mind with Andrew World is the sophisticated use of color. And I just want to know, how did you integrate this color palette into the expanded showroom?
You know, something that I usually tell designers, the selection of finishes, the selection of fabrics, materials, that actually, by the way, is managed and led by Sergio, Chismol, and his team, is designed internally in the company. It's an effort that we put, obviously, for every design that is as equally important as selecting the actual product. So we try, obviously, the showroom to have the identity of the company, not only in the selection of materials with the use of natural wood, texturized metals, and like Sergio was explaining, obviously the use of wood also in the architectural environments of the space, but in every product that we choose. And not only that, the position of the product in the showroom, we put a lot of care of how that's going to play. It's like a song. It's like the different notes of a song. So we want everything on the space to have a very smooth and organic identity where the designer can experience the product without really influencing too much the use of a product in one particular field or another. We want the product to look beautiful. And for that, we just want to choose the best colors that go with each particular product.
Well, Sergio, for you, I mean, how much development goes into these colors that you ultimately are using on the products and the space itself?
Yes, as Jesus mentioned, in the design process of a showroom, the product is another architectural component, actually. And the selection of finishes and colors is essential. We have selected, in this showroom, we have selected an attractive, colorful and contemporary selection of colors, finishes, and textures that, very important, define the Andrew World culture. And this is a culture, our culture comes from the Mediterranean Sea. And our color palette combines perfectly with architectural materials used in the showroom, making the product as a part of the architectural work.
So speaking of color, I definitely want to pivot to some of your new product introductions, starting with the hula stool. So can you tell us some of the design elements that really define this piece?
Yes, hula is an iconic central swivel bar stool with a geometric design language and available in 10 different colors that includes a series of rotating elements that creates a visual gain from the symmetry between the seat and the base and the orbital position of the aluminum footrest. So we have many elements that play in this design.
Well, speaking of play, right? So I think I can guess how you guys actually derived the name of the stool.
Yes, the name hula comes from the footrest, reminiscent of a hula hoop that rotates.
Actually, this is when Sergio does a demonstration of how the hula works.
I was going to say, did you guys
Yes.
we didn't expect this, but
well, I mean, if the name is as playful as the stool itself and the color range that it comes in, but you know, the stool was designed by the British designer Benjamin Hubert, who's one of many of the designers with whom Andrew World has worked with. How do you actually select those designers that will be a good fit to design products for the brand?
Yes, we like working with designers because it's a way to communicate our values through the unique perspective of each collaborator. And in that sense, every designer has a different approach. And the final product is the result of a process where we try to take the best of each other to make the most innovative and original product possible.
Well, obviously great things come out of good collaborations, correct? But I love the fact that this sort of status, let's just say, of the designer does not seem to always come into play with those designers that you work with, whether it's an emerging designer like Benjamin, or certainly more established designers like Patricia Urquiola?
Yes, actually, we don't have a concept of a status of the designers. We love the good ideas and the good concepts, and we love the designers that have good ideas. We are lucky because we work with brilliant and skilled designers. We think that the best in the world, that offer us all their creativity, intuition, and work to create unique products that help to innovate and create a better world.
Well, I only bring up status, of course, because you do have a new product, which is a meeting table that was actually designed in-house, though, as opposed to a collaboration by the Andrew World team, and recently, of course, also won a HIP award. Congratulations. Really, for this product, it seems like versatility and functionality was really key to it.
Yes, Status is a meeting and collaboration table series with a marked and technological character and high flexibility and adaptability through its functional base and the wide variety of tops. I think that thanks to its wiring and connectivity possibilities, Status Collection allows an intelligent use of technology during meetings, providing an easier integration of the electrical and data connectivity.
Well, I have to say, I'm certainly a fan, as those volumes of the base really offers sort of this beautiful sculptural quality that I think not everyone always finds in a meeting table. And so I'm just curious how you came up with this design.
Well, this design started with the central base. It's an iconic and sculptural base, which generates a volumetric presence and gives an architectural and differentiated gesture. We can say this like a bridge. And it has a soft and neutral aesthetic. Status is a table with apparent simplicity, but actually hides a complex technical and technological development where engineering and beauty come together.
Well, it's beautiful. And I know you just touched on it earlier, Sergio, just about the fact is like, we know that designers love to customize, like they have to put their stamp on pretty much anything that they specify. And I know with Status, there's an opportunity where they can play with the shape and materiality, especially on the tabletops, correct?
Yes, in this table, the top is available in two different shapes, rectangular and boat shape, with curve in the long sides, offering a better interaction and visibility of the users. The top is available in several sizes and a wide variety of materials, from oak, lacquer, laminate, linoleum, Decton stone, marble, and glass. And an innovative feature of this collection is the top system called Top Tech, which incorporates an integrated box under the top, allowing an easy access to the connection, hiding all the cables, and leaving free the surface of the top, highlighting the beauty of the material of the top.
I think if I may add, this collection offers a great opportunity for designers. And we're already seeing the success in the market in such a short time. We just introduced this series a year ago. Offers many possibilities. With this modularity, you can adjust its design to almost any kind of use. Offers the option to have a high quality design at a very affordable price, and offers solutions to incorporate wire management and technical solutions that designers, they really need. Every project is different. And sometimes designing products that offer this flexibility of uses is just an amazing opportunity for designers.
And JG, I mean, that's what you're doing, right? I mean, you really work closely with designers every single day, sort of helping them meet the needs of their projects by finding, you know, the right color, size, materiality of a product that can fit within their space.
Well, as we focus in design, we work with designers. Probably our main focus is to listen to the design community. We listen to designers every day. Obviously, they work in real projects. They have real needs, and for us, it's always important to know what their needs are every day. And this is the case, for example, of a Status. We developed Rivers a few years ago. It's a product that is very well designed. We have used it in many different applications. Status continues the line of developments in this category of products and offers different possibilities to designers.
Well, I mean, of course, you have another product in your collection, which also seems to have sort of endless configurations that can fit into almost any type of space, is Dado by Alfredo Hyberly. So how have you recently expanded upon this product since when it was first launched?
Yes, Dado is a modular sofa that is born from a precise set of proportions, volumes, and colors. And this year, Dado has undergone an extraordinary evolution with the new version of curved models expanding the configuration options. The geometry of Dado is graphic and essential, and its upholstery proposes a combination with the seams, including an inner tape available in 8 different colors.
So, well, speaking about that, because what I love about the product is that it doesn't seem completely linear, and that the new additions really do allow the seating system to really curve into any type of space.
Yes, Dado is not a simple sofa. Actually, it's a seating system in which, through the combination of its models, the fabric, and the color of the seams, it is possible to create unique and custom combinations adapted to the space. And very important, connected with other elements of the environment, creating flexible interior architectures in any kind of project or space, including lobby spaces or residential living rooms.
Yeah, and I love it because it's modular, and I know that you're not necessarily just designing for like the here and now, but also for the future, but people can configure it to sort of work within the challenges that we're experiencing in the here and now. Correct?
I think Dado offers a unique opportunity as well, because the way it's designed, that it's so flexible and so functional, you can adjust the different configurations to many different uses. We are actually seeing clients, which is very satisfying for us, that they use Dado and they installed Dado in their offices before COVID or before the current situation, and they have been able to adjust their space reusing Dado in a different configuration. For different uses. So that's also very satisfying, and that really proves the flexibility of users of this great product.
So with all of your products, whether it's Dado, Status, or Hula, they all maintain your commitment to sustainability. So what are some of the key elements for some of the specific products we discussed today that designers should know about?
Yes, and André has a constant commitment with the environment in the production and all of our collections. And it's not only optimizing resources, we seek to reduce our environmental footprint in all aspects of the production process. For example, 100% of the wood we use has the FSC certification. The aluminum we use in Hula is 100% recyclable and can be reused at the end of the lifetime of the product. And the thermopolymer used in the Status collection is 100% recycled and 100% recyclable, what guarantees the circularity of the material. Also important to tell is that all this collection has been designed to that all the material that comprise can be easily separated. The shell, the foam, the fabric, the wood, the thermopolymer or the aluminum, avoiding the use of glues.
So Gigi, I'm curious, so will someone be able to see these 3 new products when they visit the New York showroom?
Absolutely. We've worked very hard during these past months to update the showroom, to finish the showroom, and to have all these new designs already displayed in our showroom. Designers that are going to a showroom, they're already benefiting from being the first ones, being able to test our products. And if you stop by the space, you will see all these new collections displayed in different areas. It's a great opportunity for designers to see and test them.
And if they do want to come and test them and touch and feel, because we know we live and work in a very tactile industry. So given all the precautions that you have set up, what does a designer need to do in order to come visit the New York showroom?
Obviously, these are interesting times, but we are the design building, the design center, and 200 Lexington is a great building. They're taking precautions, cleaning the spaces regularly. We have our own cleaning staff cleaning the spaces regularly. If obviously we provide all the safety measures, but especially, like I said before, the designer is going to expect to have the space for themselves. We have a schedule, and we assign times of visits to different designers. We register them in the showroom, in the building, and then when they go to the showroom, they'll be sure to have their space, to have the alone experience. To me, this is the best time to visit the showroom because this is like a private tour in every single case.
And everyone wants a private tour.
Exactly.
Themselves. Well, Sergio, I actually wanted to end on you. Are you able to give a little sneak peek at all of anything that you're working on for 2021?
Yes, we are working in several new projects, new products, evolution of some of our collection. The newest collection will have a new member in the family. Okay, we will have new tables for conference. And also we will have a new evolution in the hula collection. So we'll be excited the new models, the new designs for the next year.
Well, I know that myself included, I think we're all waiting for 2021 to happen. But JG, Sergio, I want to say thank you both for your time and so much for your insight about Andrew World, the brand, your mission, and of course your products and the new showroom. And for our audience, please make sure to check out the Andrew World website to learn more about their product introductions. And if you happen to be in New York, please stop by the New York Design Center to visit the New York showroom, and of course me. Bye.
Hi, I'm Katherine Gibbon, Senior Style and Market Editor at Luxe Interiors and Design Magazine. Thanks so much for joining us on DesignTV for At Home with Farrow and Ball Color Consultancy. So today we're talking paint, and I'm thrilled to be joined by Jeanette Begany, who will be chatting about her recent painting experience. Jeanette, hi, welcome.
Hi, Catherine. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm thrilled you're here. So I understand that you and your husband have a beautiful spot in upstate New York, in addition to your city residence. And recently, for obvious reasons, you guys have been spending a lot of time at your country home. And you really just wanted to give this space an update, right?
Yes, absolutely. So our primary residence is in the village in the city. And about 2.5 years ago, we purchased a place upstate. Both of us are from up in this area. And even though it's been 2.5 years, I mean, half of it, this last half year, we have spent the entire time here, but we were really just coming up on the weekends and everything felt very rushed, right? We wanted to live in the space as soon as, we acquired it. So we quickly kind of went around antiquing and finding some furniture. But we really didn't spend that much time here. We were up here just for the weekends, activities, get-togethers. So then once the pandemic hit and we relocated up here, we were really loving living in the space and kind of looking around and saying, well, there's a lot of projects we haven't gotten to and we really want to make this space our own.
Yeah, I realize a lot has changed recently and somehow we're all busier than ever. And I certainly will take all the help I can get right now. So enter Farrow and Ball and their color consultancy program, which you used. And I know Farrow and Ball has done these sort of in-person color consultations for customers for a while with their team of pros, and they take their knowledge and really weigh in on the right paint for your home. Of course, now this is all virtual and it makes the process even easier in my opinion. But Jeanette, I imagine this virtual experience was pretty seamless, right?
Yeah, it really was. Patrick was our color consultant. So we kind of found that there was a Farrow and Ball offering. As I said, we were living in the space and we hadn't made it our own. There was this beige color on the walls and, we left some of the walls completely blank, just waiting for the right time to approach the project. So it was a very easy experience. We, as you said, we're busier than ever, yet home all the time. So being able to tackle the project virtually was perfect timing.
Nice. So as you said, I know you connected with Farrow & Ball's international brand ambassador, Patrick O'Donnell, for the color consultancy service to sort of narrow down your paint picks and really decide on what colors you wanted to go with. So let's see how it all went.
Hi, Jeanette. My name's Patrick, or Paddy, and I'm your virtual color consultant from Farrow & Ball. So we're kind of here to, or I'm here to kind of help you achieve your ambitions for your living room and dining room, isn't it? I think, and it's really charming. You're kind of, the house is what, kind of turn of the 19th century? I mean, really beautiful.
Yes, the original portion of the house that I'm sitting in now was built in 1800, and then the dining room that flows into this space was added about 1950. So it has a real historical feel with large fireplaces, a lot of wood, very comfortable, but then at times can also be dark. So there's lots of windows, but they're smaller windows. So to be able to bring the light into the space is something that we're looking to do as well.
So we're in your living room now, yeah?
Yes.
And when I talk about aspect in your living space, so obviously I can see two windows to your, I'm just working it out in reverse, to your right.
Yes.
And then obviously you have a window behind you. Are there any more windows in that room, or?
There's one more window along my right in front of me. On the left-hand side is a bedroom.
Right.
In the front of the living room space, what you're not seeing is a big stone fireplace with a wood mantle.
Okay, and so to the right or to the window behind you, do you know what time of day the sun's coming in? You know, are you east facing, west, south, north, or?
This is east facing. So
so that's morning light.
In like late morning, yes.
Yeah.
Early afternoon.
Right, and the light's going out of there from what, say 1 p.m., 2 p.m. or something like that?
Yes.
So potentially, that's probably why you're struggling, isn't it, with the light? Because the morning light's cooler. You know, it tends to be bluer light as it travels from east to west. It kind of warms up tonally, you know, throughout the day. So, you know, it's definitely sort of cooler light in the morning. But I presume you're using the living space for the family all times of the day. So whatever color we use there needs to respond successfully in the morning and in the evening. But obviously what we probably need to do is maybe think about creating a bit more intimacy in the evening when the natural light's off it and you're relying on your artificial lighting. So in terms of artificial lighting in there, what do you have? Do you have downlighters in the ceiling, or is it primarily table lamps or wall lights, or?
That's a great question. Right now we have primarily table lamps.
Yeah. The most flattering light.
Yeah.
Stick with it.
Okay. And then, we just have table lamps. We don't have any wall or ceiling lighting in here.
And the color on the wall is kind of a beige?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Beige. And then it does, so you can see in the stairwell behind me going up, there's green accents in the upstairs space, which has a lot of like the wood board that you see next to the stairwell. That's painted a greenish. So there is some green reflection, but it isn't on the wall at the moment.
I mean, the nice thing about, you know, greens or colors with a green nuance in them, and greens are ultimately quite relaxing and calming. So that's always good, especially in this, you know, new world of COVID and sort of what perceived kind of slightly chaotic sort of noise that we're all learning to cope with and adjust to. Is, you know, houses fundamentally, you know, especially with people working from home and possibly homeschooling, you know, we're using our houses in a very different way. So I think we're less interested in kind of zeitgeist cool and much more about creating a nurturing environment, a familiar environment, a nostalgic environment. It's your home. It kind of wraps you up, and it, you know, you just kind of feel good there. So I think if we sort of work with that principle too. So I'm going to show you a couple of colors here, and I'm going to almost be a wee bit radical for you as an option. So I'm suggesting, let me pull a white out so you can see the contrast. This is a really beautiful, it's quite difficult to read, and this is the problem sometimes. Yeah. This is a really lovely color called shaded white, and it's just a really nice off-white neutral. But there's a tiny hint of yellow through it, so there's a little bit of warmth without it being too pretty. But there's also an underlying green note through it. So this color I've got behind it is called pointing, which is a warm white we have, just so you can see the contrast. But what I'm suggesting, which I think could be fun, and because you're quite low ceilinged, I think this could feel quite dramatic. And in low ceilings, framing your trim in actually a darker color, because you've got the classic combination where how most people decorate is darker walls, lighter trim, is actually considering something like this, French grey, as your trim color. So you have slightly lighter walls and you frame it with, your skirting and, even your window casements in a slightly dark, it feels very beautiful. It's quite period, but it also feels quite clean as well, sort of quite modern. So that's one option, is
and
doing that.
Clarification on that option, would we also paint the ceiling that color?
No, the ceiling, I've got a color here. I'm trying to find it again. And here we go. And this is kind of in the same tonal family as your shaded white. This is the whitest version in this family. And this is called Schoolhouse White. So again, it has that tiny note of green and yellow underlying in it. I think it's more empathetic if you choose a tonal white to your wall color. So, and what's quite nice, especially in a low ceiling room, it gives the impression of your walls feeling slightly taller because you're less aware of a super sharp contrast of where your wall stops and your ceiling starts. So it's kind of a softer grading from the wall to the ceiling. So, you're less, like I said, you're less aware of that very sharp line, where you go from that to a really clean and bright white. So those are just very soft notes. How does that kind of palette work for you in terms of, is that where you want to go, or do you feel like you want to really move away? I'm just thinking if you're seeing green notes and you're in a rural landscape, that kind of green or very subtle green is actually quite nice because it gives you almost a link or symbiosis from the outdoors and the indoors. It kind of links them quite nicely, marries them together rather well.
Yes.
That's a great approach. Yeah.
Richard, what do you think over in the corner?
We're getting agreement from the corner. That actually sounds quite nice. And I think we'll check it with the color reference, but I like the third edition with going with a darker trim. And
also by framing your walls in a darker trim, especially like your skirting boards and everything, it kind of helps to make the walls feel bigger because you're kind of framing them. So these are all like little kind of subtle notes to kind of help increase the sort of perception of space, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Should I pop in or stay over here?
Do you want Rich to pop in and talk? Yes.
Richard, pop on in. Show us your lovely face. Bring your face to the camera. Don't be shy.
How are you?
Hi.
I love what you just presented. I think that was really, and the French grey in particular.
If you're happy with that, and then we can move on to your dining room. And just to kind of establish, your dining room, is that your only eating space, or do you have a more informal dining area in the kitchen, or do you use the dining room for everything?
We use the dining room for everything. It is the only eating space. It's not an eat-in kitchen. It opens right up to the kitchen on one side, and the living room on the other side. So, I'm going to show you. I'm going to do a safety one, and one of the reasons why I'm kind of doing the safety or the kind of the easy, calm version is so you've got. So we can use the same white, so you get this almost universality, this kind of continuity through the property. And this is a color called ash gray, and you have to be quite cautious of Farrow and Ball names because although it's called ash gray, there's a lot of green. It's like the light blue I showed you it's not really light blue. There's green and gray and everything in it.
And this is, so it's a kind of similar principle. So it's almost intensifying and making it more cozy than the living room in a way. Because I think dining rooms sometimes lend themselves to being a little bit darker. And this is called ash gray. So if I show you the shaded white that we looked at, so you can see there's more intensity to it. And you see it's not really gray, it's reading much more green without being sort of a bright, livid green. But again, same principle, and then possibly your schoolhouse white, as your universal white for either your trim and your ceiling. But then I'm going to show you a slightly off the piste version. And the only reason I'm showing you this actually, because in America, the US, you are really confident. And I don't know how you two are. Your buddy is like going to pull your hair out in a minute. The US is really good at using browns. And I don't know what your relationship is with browns. But this is the color from the collection. This is that broccoli brown again that I used as an example to show you how brown layered quite successfully to illustrate your sofa and your beams and everything with the light blue. And again, this is another option, is brown walls, which will just create a really intimate cocooning space. And sometimes when a room is starved of a lot of natural light, I'm not saying the room certainly isn't, but it's morning light for you, and then comes off by lunchtime. Sometimes a lot of people get nervous about that and don't know how to deal with it, so therefore they tend to go for almost painting it quite pale and light, which ends up feeling quite drab. So something as dramatic as this, like this broccoli brown, or we do a softer version, which I will find in my book as I sort of get hit is frighteningly close to the camera, and everyone's sort of going, pull away, that's hideous. And this is much softer. And Mouse's Back has an underlying green to it again. So we're just pulling on those so none of them are particularly green, but they've all got those green notes for that kind of soothing, sort of calm, quite natural, sort of empathetic palette for the build. So, and again, that would work really, really well with your schoolhouse white as your trim color. So it gives you a nice contrast between the two. And I'm just going back to the options we looked at for the previous room. So let's say this is kind of roughly where we sit in the palette. So this is your schoolhouse white, which I'm suggesting is definitely your universal ceiling color in the estate emulsion. This is potentially, if we went for the darker walls and lighter woodwork in your living room, the light blue. This is the Mouse's Back for your walls in your dining room. Or then the other option is, this is the shaded white with it. So you're getting this kind of family, and then bringing in your French grey trim. So you've got this kind of, so there's a family of colors here, they all marry together. There's nothing jarring. You're not jumping from one room to another with this kind of acute shock of, it's not disparate. I always think successful houses kind of naturally flow, from rooms. So you're kind of using tonal groups and everything. I don't know how that's resonating with you at all.
Yes, I think he's thinking.
I'm picturing.
I have one question. So since we said we walk in to the natural divide between the dining room and the living room, as part of a transition, there's a wall that you see when you walk in. Is it our choice if we want to paint it like the living room wall color or the dining room wall color? How does that?
Your reception hall.
Yes.
Well, you can do, but there's no reason, if that is the physical natural break between the two rooms. I mean, what you could do is, the universal white, I'm talking about schoolhouse white, it could be as simple as that is your kind of continuity between the two spaces. So you don't have to overcommit or use a strong color like the wall color in either room or anything like that. It can be as really simple and as gentle as just using that schoolhouse white. So, but is there anything, are you happy with those colors? Did you want to explore any more color palettes?
Yeah, are you totally clear on which one goes? I think the Mouse's Back color is really a great color. Mm-hmm. I'm picturing it as, we're talking about darker walls in the dining area, right?
Yeah.
Do you have those colors on hand again? Can you pull those up?
I will certainly pull them out for you. So that's your mouse's back.
Yeah.
And that's your schoolhouse white. So that's your trim color and your ceiling color, but obviously estate eggshell for your trim, estate emulsion for your ceiling, and again, I would recommend modern emulsion, the wipeable finish for your walls in the dining room, as I did for your living room walls as well.
I mean, I think that would be a really nice contrast in there, and thinking that there's another color in the kitchen that we're not touching, but to put a darker wall in front of that.
Yeah, I think it sounds good.
I like the plans.
Yeah, no, I think it sounds great. I'm happy with the colors that have been presented. I don't have any more questions.
Agreed.
Okay, lovely. Perfect.
Jeanette, that looked so interesting. How helpful was that process? It really must have been so nice to really have a pro talk you through all your decisions, right?
Absolutely. So as you saw, Patrick was very knowledgeable of the colors. He really took into account the integrity that we wanted to keep of the age of the home. So, it's an older home. And I was just impressed with the color palette that he brought to us. So there were a couple of colors that he proposed that, we didn't end up going in that direction, but I really appreciated how he brought it as a color palette, thinking about what you want your walls to look like and trim and ceiling, and not just here's one paint color, but he brought it to us as a color palette, really incorporating all pieces of the room.
So we all know that paint can really transform a space, obviously, and I'm excited to take a look at some of your photos and some of the before and after images. Do you kind of want to walk us through each paint shade that you used and really the space that you live in here?
Sure. So we decided to kind of tackle both rooms at the same time. It's a living room, dining room. It's an older home, so the house dates back to 1800, and wow. Then the dining room was built on in the 1950s. So we decided to go with the French gray for the trim, and the French gray has green undertones, right? So it really is bringing the outside. I think I was staying away from greens, but after talking to Patrick, it really brings the outside, the nature, the reason why we're upstate, inside. So that has been really beautiful. We went with a shaded white on the walls, which isn't a pure white. So as I said, we had left the space for 2 years, and the dining room was just a white wall, almost like a primer. So the shaded white has the gray undertones, and it really is a great balance to the green in the French gray that we use for the trim. So I can walk you through the spaces. When you enter the home and you go to the left, you're in the living space, and we have it set up as a traditional living room, so there's no television. And it's really where we kind of start our days in the morning with coffee, and we end our days, on a leather couch, just reading and talking about our day without any distractions of TV, computers.
That sounds very civilized.
Yeah, no, it's a really great end of day. So I have 2 young daughters who are both in elementary school. I kind of jumped in on the process too and wanted to help with the decorating. But we're all here all the time now. We're living from here, working from here, schooling from here. So yeah, the living room is just a time to spend our day in the morning, in the evening, and just catch up as a family. So it's really our living space.
It's such a beautiful room too. You can, you said this was a historic home, and you can really see that. And I think the paint just really complements all of these elements so beautifully. But Jeanette, I know you ended up painting yourself, and can you talk a little bit about that process? And I mean, it's kind of amazing that you can really live in the space you're painting these days. And because, Farrow and Ball's paints are eco-friendly and kids safe, I think it makes the process a lot easier.
Yes, it really did. And so the fact that Farrow and Balls have low VOCs and a low odor, we were able to live in the space as we were painting it. Now we had to get rid of all of the furniture, and the girls did want to help, but my husband and I and each of the girls really took on the painting ourselves, and we were able to stay here in the house and live as we were painting.
It's beautiful. And it seems like you have a lot of light in this room as well, right?
Yes, and so that was something that I learned from Patrick in speaking with him. So it's east facing, so we get a morning light, and how the morning light actually could change the feel and how it looks in a room. So there's a difference between morning light and afternoon light. And the ceilings aren't that high, you know, there's wood beams on the ceilings.
That's a good point.
So it was important for us to bring a paint that would brighten up the room.
Yeah, it's beautiful. That white, even though, as you said, it's not a true white, really just pops here. But can you talk a little bit too? I think it's such an interesting layout. The fireplace sort of breaks up this room. I guess that was sort of a traditional or historic element, right?
Yes, and if you look in the dining room, it has the brick fireplace, and it's really a place where we entertain and bring people together. So this is where we come to have our meals and spend a lot of time with not only our family, but also our extended family. But it separates the spaces because you can have a fire and a gathering in the dining room, and it's separate from, you know, the fireplace that's in the living room. So as much as the living and dining space all flow into one large space, it's broken up by the central like warmth of the fireplace.
Beautiful. And it's interesting, you know, on the trims, as you said, you use that beautiful, what was it, French gray. It really just sort of accentuates the beautiful, you know, details against that white. I love how it all came together. Bravo.
Thank you. Yeah, I love that we used 3 different colors. So we also have a different shade of white on the ceiling in a different finish. So that's something that Fair & Ball offers as well. It's different, you know, finishes of the paint that gives it a different feel. And you can see the distinction between the ceiling and the wall instead of it all just flowing into one. It actually gave the room a little bit more height and made it feel a little bit open.
Yeah, I actually recently painted my apartment as well and used Faro and Ball. It was pink ground, which I think is just sort of the most flattering shade. And the paint was so luxurious, like putting it on the wall, it was so thick and went on so well. I was kind of so impressed that this process was so easy.
I agree. You could tell from even when you're dipping your brush into the paint can, like how well it adhered to the brush and stuck to it. I mean, I haven't done that many painting projects, although we just recently painted the garage. The paint went really far. So a gallon of paint, you know, really did most of the trim in both rooms. So it was amazing that how it adhered to the surface.
I think there might be some more paint projects in both of our futures, but congratulations on your beautiful space, Jeanette. You know, I love the paint picks you went with, and it's really fun to see how, you know, Faro & Ball's dynamic colors really come to life on your walls and really change the room. So to our viewers, thanks so much for tuning in to DesignTV. And if you need some help with your paint projects, head over to Faro & Ball online for a virtual color consultancy. Bye.